Singapore Airlines in recent years seem to be on a roll, not to mention its perennial regional competitor, Cathay Pacific, suffered a heavy blow due to Hong Kong's zero-COVID policy. But it's not without its own turbulence. For one, many of its grounded staff has not returned to the sky as they have already been landed with other jobs in the hospitality industry such as hotels, and hence it is facing its own staff shortage problem that might lead to some lapse of service. Another recent incident was related to its presentation of its newly introduced economy flight meals. The design of the paper pack was so bad that it's become butt of frequent travelers' jokes. As a business class traveler, I have also found the overall quality of meal to be on a descending trend, which I believe was a result of cost cutting. However, as I got enough Krisflyer miles to redeem my flight from Hong Kong to Singapore, I see no reason not to choose SQ in my trip to Singapore. As my final destination of this trip is London, I present my flight experience of both SQ flights in this vlog. First, let's talk about the business lounge. I have to say I'm really disappointed that the Krisflyer lounge in Hong Kong International Airport is still not open, and I have a feeling that this arrangement might be permanent as Hong Kong has already reopened its borders for almost a year. That said, the lounge that replaced it was a Plaza Premium lounge, which was a pleasant surprise for me, especially after hearing so many negative reviews on its lower-tiered lounge. I have to say the quality of food and service was actually better than Krisflyer lounge when they were still in operation before the pandemic. Mind you, not all flight carriers with no business lounge in Hong Kong will send you to this premium lounge, so I think SQ is actually quite generous to its customers. Once I was on board, I was a bit disappointed by the space of the A350 business class. I have to say, to be fair, this is not as cramped as it looks once you have managed to pass through the thick partition of the seat. And as I can recall, the space of the Qantas business class to Sydney is also more or less the same. But this is SQ, and the flights that I have tried like the Boeing 777 is actually more spacious. That said, the food quality has been improved, especially when compared to my multiple flights to and from Sydney and Singapore last year. This mee siam goreng was really delicious and much better presented than my previous SQ flights, and the service of the SQ has always been faultless. For my flight to London, I've chosen the A380. I have to say I was mistaken to have thought that the business class of A380 should be bigger than an average Airbus flight, especially having tried the massive suite class 3 years ago, but I was wrong. I don't see any difference between A350's business class seat and this one. Had I got enough miles, for sure I would upgrade my ticket to suite class, but when you have to pay $70,000 for a one-way ticket, and I'm just a crazy but not rich Asian, sometimes you have to make some compromise. I have to give credit to SQ for serving full-scale supper on a red-eye flight, and although the presentation was slightly disappointing, the food from the appetizers to the main course is really up to business class standard. That said, I think the staff was a little bit rushed in presenting the food, as the supper had 3 courses and then moments later, they would be very busy clearing the tables and helping passengers to prepare for bed. I would say a light supper like the one served by Qantas was already more than enough, given the fact that most of us would have had some kind of food at the Krisflyer lounge at Changi. For breakfast, it's typical SQ standard, as what should I say, the presentation has been consistently messy, but the taste is up to standard. Alright, since I mentioned about the lounge, let me take you to the Changi Airport's Krisflyer lounge. Much bigger than the Plaza Premium lounge in Hong Kong, and I guess no lounge in Changi will be bigger than the home carrier SQ. For food, I haven't tried this time, but from the looks of it and my previous dining experience, I think they're just okay but not impressive. But to be fair, so far not too many business class lounges around the world had impressed me post-pandemic, so perhaps I should not be too harsh to SQ. Overall, I believe SQ service is way more hospitable than Cathay Pacific, which after the incident when a staff was alleged to have made fun of passengers for not speaking English, has become super vigilant to a point that you didn't see the passion nor communication with the staff. What made me sad was that despite efforts made by Hong Kong's hospitality industry after it opened its borders, the current political headwind has thwarted these companies in regaining control. On both my SQ flights, I have never heard anyone communicating with crew members in language other than English. I really don't understand since when crew members are expected to communicate in a passenger's native language. However, we're not living in a world where common sense prevails, and so perhaps I should accept this new norm, right?